work to stop them. But sure we got the clue how that this we go. Don't you know? Oh my art. And as I look to the horizon, not a cloud, cloud and stormy weather's go too cold. Seems like it breaks up out of nowhere. All around you is not what you forego. You never see it coming. You see that my mind is the best for eyes. You're done. By the time you see you, you're not surprised.
Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, and welcome to DSP News, the unreliable ones. Looking to start off your day late as usual, but hopefully entertaining. Today, we're here with,
Monday is a weird...
my bad, we're here with Mr. Stuffs, talking about DSP and no to moving back to Connecticut, by any means necessary. He would rather live in a cardboard box than go back to Connecticut. Let me give you a little bit of context. Phil, or DSP, or King John, as I've christened him, has put his blood, sweat, tears, and worked his ass off to get to where he's at. And he'll be damned if he goes back to Connecticut, back to his old stomping grounds, back to the hood, and have to start over. No. He won't do that. He's worked too hard. He's put too much into this. He's lost too much. He's lost the BMW. He's lost his maid and cook. I mean, excuse me. He's lost his he's lost his girlfriend. He's lost a lot. He's lost his dignity, being hacked. His business is gone. Hence the reason why he doesn't refer to that. He's lost a lot. Losing his house is the last vestiges. And if he loses his house, he has to go back to Connecticut. Back home to mom and dad. Go back to his old stomping grounds. Going back to the people that he's alienated. Remember, when Phil left Connecticut, when he got his house, I was the lucky one. I was the one who was able to succeed while others couldn't. So now he has to go back with his tail in between his legs and be humbled? Can you imagine him going back and doing a DSP tries it in Connecticut and someone noticing him? Someone recognizing him? He's above them. They're commoners to him. He's the one who was fortunate enough to make a living on YouTube. And his 8-year legacy being reduced to nothing. Thanks to Mr. Stuffs, DSPGaming, no to moving back to Connecticut. The video I will also put his video in the description. We're about to go ahead and have an analysis with this. This is an exclusive interview with DSP, talking about the prospects of having to move back to Connecticut. Mr. DSP, are you ready? Thank you, Mr. DSP. The floor is yours.
Day, folks. I'm warning everybody. Monday is going to be very similar to how yesterday was. If you guys remember yesterday, I had an inspector coming to my house to look at the fire alarm system. And because he was coming to the house to look at that, I couldn't stream at the normal time. I had to wait for him to be done and leave before I could stream. But then he took forever, and I had to do errands and stuff. So I just did my errands, and then I did one later stream, okay? It's looking more like that's what Monday is going to be now as well. All right. And what I mean by that is, Monday, I'm going to be going to, I have an appointment I have to deal with in the afternoon, the early afternoon. It was the only available time for me to get an appointment, and therefore, after that appointment is done, I don't know how long it's going to take.
And as we've said plenty times, as well as other people in this community, doctor's appointment with the IRS, possibly something to do with the hairdresser, possibly something to do with Leanne, Who knows? Who knows? DSP and DSP news. Please, Mr. DSP, go back to it.
And down how long my appointment is and when I get back home, that's going to determine when I'm actually able to start playing a stream. I think what I'm going to do is, because I have this appointment in the early afternoon, I'll do the appointment, I'll get food on the way back, so I'll already eaten, and then I can start my stream whenever. So Monday's basically up in the air. Let's put it this way. I'm definitely streaming on Monday. I just don't know what time I can start. So really, it looks like there probably will only be one stream on Monday. More than likely, it'll end up being more Marvel. All right. But then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be more normal days for me, where I'll be doing more normal streams. All right. It'll be double streams of like Marvel the first half of the day, and then Mario plus Rabbids Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. So 3 straight days and nights here, where it's going to be Marvel plus Mario at night. And I'm thinking, if I put in 2 hours tonight, and if I really am on the last world of the game, I may actually beat it by Thursday, because if I put in 6 more hours, I might be able to wrap up these final stages and finish it up. So Mario plus Rabbids may actually complete this week. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And we'll go from there. Now keep in mind, this all is hinging on other personal stuff going on. As you guys know, I made a video this last week about how things are not going so well for me. I'm pretty stressed out to no end, and I don't know what's going to happen with my future here. If I'm going to be able to stay in Washington and keep this house, or if I'm going to be selling the house, or leaving the house and moving somewhere else, or if I'm going to have to go back to Connecticut. I don't know. I won't know until I have more information, and I don't have any information for you right now. So when I have more info, I'll let you know what's going on. What the heck? Sorry I can't share more details. Just like I said earlier this week when I first put out that video, it certainly wouldn't make sense for me to put out more details on that right now until I actually have definite news for all of you, and I don't have any. Excuse me. So hopefully good news and more news in the future, but it might not be. It may be bad news. I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know, folks. I don't know. See?
The drama. You feel it? You feel it in the air? The desperation. The drama. The suspense. The uncertainty. I think DSP has not, I think DSP doesn't do it any better when it comes to being depressed, and how he tries to put that on everybody else. It's amazing. Very well done. Please continue.
And Ben Boxer says there's no shame in moving back to Connecticut and saving up for another house. Dude, you don't understand. I will never be able to save. I am in a financial rut where I am in so much debt. Dude, there's no way. I'm in so much debt, I can't save shit. Any money that I make is going to be going to bills and other responsibilities and shit, and, that's what I mean. If I lose this house, that's pretty much it. Like, for my life. That's it, dude. Especially because if I go back to Connecticut, I know there's no jobs in Connecticut. Because I left Connecticut with there being no jobs, and since I left Connecticut...
It's been 3 years, DSP. It's like, I'm sure, it's been 3 years, Phil. I'm sure the job climate has changed slightly in 3 years. But that does go back to something that we've been reporting before, or we have reported before, is that Connecticut's kind of the end of the road, basically. If he has to go back to Connecticut, then that's it. That's the end for him. You know what I mean? And you just heard him articulate that just a minute ago. DSP News. Sometimes we see what Phil can't even see.
All the jobs have left.
A GTG network.
Like, my dad doesn't work for the same company anymore. He had to get a job at a totally different kind of company, and it's all falling apart in Connecticut. If I have to go back there, it's going back to basically worst case scenario in my life. So I really hope that doesn't happen. I do, because that would be it. That would basically be me. I would be stuck in that shitty little condo for the rest of my life, paying off an exorbitant amount of debt, doing this for a living, in a situation that would suck because the internet there's not as good, and it always has issues, You know, my recording setup back in Connecticut was not good. It always echoed and sounded like I was in a cave. Even with the direct capture, it didn't sound good. I can't make my living room there like a recording studio like I have my office here because it's too big. Even if I put soundproofing foam all over the fucking walls, it wouldn't help.
Yet again, how would you know, though? You didn't have soundproofing back then, though, Phil. So, couldn't hurt to try. You know what I mean? It could not hurt to try. I mean, in truth, though, with all the boxes and all those figurines and everything he had, makes you wonder how he had an echo in the first place. DSP News, the unprofessional ones.
The place is too small for me. There's terrible weather there that doesn't agree with my health. As you know, I can't shovel snow anymore. You know, it would be horrible. Going back there would be like basically being in defeat and saying, you know, everything that I've worked for the past 8-9 years was worthless. And
that right there is the key point that I personally would want to emphasize, is that him going back to Connecticut is the end. It's the very end, to be perfectly honest with you. And if he loses that house, if his depression, if he thinks he's depressed now, he's going to be at the very end of his ropes then. You know what I mean? Think about, like I said, think about all the people he shit on. Think about all the things he said about Connecticut and so on and so forth. So when he got out of there, he felt like the man. He was on top of the world. Even though, theoretically, the situation with Machinima wasn't very good at the time. He moved because he thought that there was going to be he thought that they were going to restructure his contract, and he got lucky that they didn't. But the thing is his output, his channel wasn't producing, or it didn't produce like he thought it should. So even though he didn't get the pay cut, his exposure didn't get better, his fan base didn't do well, his retention wasn't good, his views weren't up. So it still hurt him. It actually probably hurt him worse than the pay reduction. So him going back that could very well truly be the end of DSP Gaming if he ends up having to go back. And he's coming to the realization, in my own personal opinion, that he's all those years that he wasted, all the time that he could have had and whatnot, all of the mistakes that he could have righted with people, and now he has to go back. He could have squared things up with Howard and John Rambo, whether publicly or privately. I doubt he did both, or did either. So, and then like as I've said in previous videos, I am confident that there are other people that he's screwed over too, and whatnot, that we just haven't heard of. And he may actually end up having to face them, unless they moved out of Connecticut themselves. So, there you go. Because you see, here at DSP News, we've come to the realization that Phil will only stick to what's familiar to him. So, he can hate Connecticut all he wants, but he's going to probably end up having to go back, in the worst case scenario. And it's because he has no other choice. Where else is he going to go?
I don't want to do that. I've got other plans that I'd like to do, honestly. See, a lot of things I don't tell you guys about in the background here. But there's other things. There was other things that I had in motion. There were other plans I had, other things going on behind the scenes that I haven't told you about because I basically learned my lesson to not share everything publicly.
It only took you 8 years. Progress. But in truth, it doesn't matter what he has going on behind the scenes. He should have acted on those when he could. Now it's too late. Now it's way too late. Now it's way, way, way too late. If there was any plans at all. DSP News.
But, I was really hoping that things were and things were looking good. Things were looking very positive, guys. Like I said, August was up and up. Like, the streaming was up, YouTube was up, everything was looking good. And I was like, wow, this is great. If I can keep it at this level, yeah, it's tight right now, financially tight, but if I can keep it at that level moving forward, things might get better. I might get, start to push out of where I am and keep this house and, God forbid, I know I'm saying, some time off, maybe actually get some time to myself, right? To go off and look in the dating scene maybe or something or whoever, I was in the point,
Now, that right there is telling also, because it lets you, it really brings the reality of he is lonely and whatnot. So whether Leanne's there or not, we don't know. So that is what it is. But you know, there is that hairdresser. I know in one of my other videos, someone asked, "What's the deal with this hairdresser?" So let me elaborate on that. DSP News, they're unreliable ones. Certainly, I'm very late with this. All right, so this hairdresser was a young lady who used to actually work at the salon. Basically, they used to be right across the street from his house, and she ended up moving. She ended up getting promoted, I should say, and she moved to another location, which is about, I don't know, I think Phil said it was about 30 to 45 minutes away, I guess. And as you know, this is right around the time Leanne left, so he had to travel out there, and he said it actually wasn't that far, and it wasn't that bad. But that's the person who's probably been doing his hair since the beginning. So now that he's single, he's probably feeling a certain type of way. Maybe he might open up to her. I don't know. It's hard to say. But if she's been cutting her hair, if she's been cutting his hair that long, he's probably at least spoken freely to an extent. So there you go. So one of the speculations going on was possibly, you know, he was hitting on her. Maybe, you know, maybe he was trying to. This is after Leanne's gone. Maybe he was trying to, you know, see what could work out with that. Maybe they could go out to dinner or something. Who could say? He's never actually said anything about it, but it's speculation. And if it's possible when it comes to the dating aspect, maybe he would, you know, try to get enough confidence built up to ask her out. Maybe, maybe not. I would guess though she's probably already married or she already has a boyfriend. So there you go on that. But that's a little bit of the backstory on this hairdresser.
At that point where I was like, wow, things are starting to look up. And then, boom, here comes more terrible fucking bullshit to hit me out of nowhere. Again, something that I don't...
Actually, in truth, him entering the dating scene would be the worst thing, to be honest with you. All it would take is a quick Google search of Phil Burnell, and what comes up is probably I would assume, would run off any potential prospect in the future. Like, he doesn't, like I said, he really doesn't understand how bad he screwed himself over. He really doesn't see it. And I think this right here proves it. So, like I said, that's just my unprofessional opinion. But I would assume any woman who ended up catching wind of who he really is going to want no parts of that. At all. At all.
Control. I can't control. Out of my control. Nothing I did wrong. Nothing you did wrong. Just boom. Here you go. Here's some more negative shit to fuck with everything. All the work, the hard work, and the dedication, and the pushing through all the other shit. Here's some more. Boom. Gee, thanks.
You're welcome. A moment of silence. There you go.
Well, we'll see what happens. Like I said, nothing is set yet. Hopefully soon I'll start to get a better idea of exactly everything, what's going on, and if I can survive this and come back from it or whatever, we're gonna have to find out. All right, everybody. Well, enough of that. But we'll see. Anyway, that's what I mean. Like, I'd like to say, oh, let's make these huge long-term plans, and I'll tell you what I'm doing in 2-3 months. I'm like, man, in 2-3 months, I might have my house on the market. I don't know. So I don't know. All right, anybody.
Now, it's funny that he said that, because in another video that we just did recently, he actually talked about what he wanted to do in the long term. And actually, exactly in the next 3 months. I think he, what's it called? Evil Within 2. There was another game. He had talked about. South Park. He already has his plans all lined up. Now, keep in mind, that video that we went over previously was posted on the 25th. This one right here was posted yet again by Mr. Stuffs on the 23rd. So 2 days later, all of a sudden, he has 3 months worth of plans out after he said he didn't know what he was going to do in 3 months. Gotta think about it, Phil. There are very, very intelligent people in this tractor community. I'm not speaking for myself here, but there are other very, very intelligent people in the tractor community who keep track of what you say. So if you're not going to do it, someone else is. Just saying there, Phil. Just saying. DSP news. We try to keep our hands on the pulse of DSP's bullshit.
Anyway is what I meant to say. You guys know about Patreon. Patreon is, gonna be coming, to the end here of the month.
All right, let's cut it because he doesn't know what else. He doesn't have anything else to say. He's taken up enough time on this broadcast. So, in closing, ladies and gentlemen, DSP will not be defeated. He will continue to claw along, kicking and screaming in Seattle before he ever goes back to Connecticut. It's not an option. It's a choice that he's already made. He can't go back. It's not that he won't go back. He can't. There's too much there. Too many bad memories. Too many bad memories. Too many what ifs. Too many of what could have been. What maybe even should have been. He's not Drake. There is no going back to the bottom and then starting back up. No. Not at all. There's no time for that. The end's near. This is DSP News, signing off.
Wow.
What the fuck? This is officially the spammiest person I've ever seen in my life. Wow. I couldn't do anything. Wouldn't block. Huh? It showed him doing a punch I didn't do. It shows him doing a punch I didn't do. Okay. This is the spammiest player I've ever seen in my life. I'm not playing him again because he sucks. Terrible internet connection, spamming Dragon Punch. Go fuck yourself, idiot. Waste of my time. And by the way, he had the one button input, so I guarantee you he was doing one button Dragon